All right. Welcome everybody. This is another episode of Brainwashed by the Pop Culture. We have been on a unprompted hiatus. Not my fault. And and since there's just two people here, then you can figure it out yourself. And
It was such a long hiatus that you almost forgot the name of this podcast.
yes, I did. I have to think for a second. You saw the.
I did.
Uh,
It's okay.
right, and I mean a lot has happened. And last time we talked about that we're gonna talk about murder mystery, and that's something we get to at a later point, I believe. But first, there's the usual Nicolas Cage, the genius himself. And I don't know if you kept up with Nicolas Cage and what he's been doing, but there was a so okay. We haven't talked for such a long time, and I had that as a note way back last year, actually. So there's an interview uh, with Nicolas Cage and John Carpenter, these two giants talking together, and it's an amazing interview. And they met for the first time, never met before, and you just wonder the whole interview. Why didn't these two guys ever work on a movie? It would be insane. I'm gonna post that interview in the
In
in
the
the
comments section.
bio, yeah, in the comment section, because
I was gonna say.
it's a great read, and you just wish that John Carpenter would get back to directing. But he's making music now. He's happy. He doesn't have to care about anything in the world. He just wakes up, reads the news, throws the computer out of the window, and
Uh,
he's happy.
well, maybe he doesn't read the news, so he doesn't care about anything.
Anyway, Nicolas Cage remembers how it was like when he was in the womb.
He remembers what it was like when he was in the womb. Is that what you said?
Yes, yes. He was at a fuck. I think I don't know. It was James Corden or Jimmy Fallon, and he was there, and he must have been briefed about the questions he's gonna get, but it doesn't matter. He just still went full on Cage, and he said this that he recalls the voices and the vibes and stuff like that. That you have to check that. It's if you just type the latest Nicolas
I'm
Cage
not going to
talk
put it
show.
past him. If there's anybody in this world who was sentient while in the womb, it might have been Nicolas Cage. He might be the
Okay,
only person in the world who knows what it was like to be an unborn child in the womb. But it's him, so I believe it.
like he feels like it that he would remember it. He didn't say it outright. Then he kind of like tried to backtrack a bit. But yeah, anyway, and from the movie world, I don't know if you
Reinfeld?
yeah if you've
I haven't
catch
seen it yet.
Frankfurt.
I really,
I,
I'm hoping to see it soon. It's not playing prominently in theaters here. It's hard to find a theater that's playing it. They do one showing maybe a day, and I don't think it would be in theaters much longer.
I think you can watch it, at home now.
Yeah,
it's like on digital.
I think that's on my, that'll be on my to watch list for the rest of the week. But you saw it. You saw Reinfeld?
Yes, of course I saw it. I watched it in a cinema, and okay, at first I wasn't, like from the trailers, I didn't believe in it that much, but no, it's a lot of fun. Nicholas Hoult as Renfield is a great character, living with that toxic boss who's Dracula. Nicholas Cage as Dracula is everything you wanted it to be. It's a lot of fun with
So
a
just
lot of over the top violence.
so Wikipedia here. Reinfeld is a 2023 American comedy horror film directed and produced by Chris McKay, written by Ryan Ridley, from a story by Robert Kirkman, and was originally a comic book. Is that right?
Really? No.
Or it was originally pitched as a comic book.
What is possible?
Yeah, it says that it was based on an original pitch by comic book writer Robert Kirkman. And in 2019, Dexter Fletcher was hired to direct the film for Universal and Skybound Entertainment. So yeah, it was originally pitched as a comic book.
Didn't know. But that's not a comic book movie per se.
No.
It's a lot of fun. I really recommend it, and yeah, I'm kind of saddened, but that it didn't make more money at the box office. Like, uh, I don't think it's playing here either in cinemas.
Interesting. Let's see.
And last note with Nicolas Cage, and then we can move on to something else.
Debuted at $10 million at the global box office.
Yeah, that's not gonna pay even the budget.
$65 million to produce.
And that's not even like accounting marketing budget.
No.
It's gonna be like at least half of it.
For reference.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know what sequel is Nicolas Cage gonna make? And they're pitching it now at Cannes, to get producers interested.
Another National Treasure movie, right?
I don't think that's ever gonna happen. That's just a pipe dream. He's gonna make Lord of War sequel.
Oh, interesting. That wasn't really phrased as potential for a sequel. When I don't remember it ending in a way.
No. Well, actually, there is potential for a sequel. There was that whole case with the basketball player who was held captive in Russia.
Yes.
For like the past 2 years.
Yes. Yeah.
And they traded her. Yes, I forgot. I mean, I read about it, but I never cared enough. Sorry, I didn't mean to sound mean. I never cared enough to dig deep into it. They traded her for a guns dealer.
That's right. Yeah.
This guns dealer who is the basis of Lord of War. So basically, that could be the sequel, but that's not going to be the sequel. The sequel is going to be about what was his name? Oleg, and his son being in the guns trade. I don't know. Andrew Niccol is back, and Andrew Niccol is the guy who wrote Gattaca, Truman Show. I always felt like at one point they should have taken that guy in the 90s, just lock him up, give him pen and paper, and just write, because his ideas were insane. So I look forward to this.
Yeah, I think so. Brittany Griner was in prison in Russia for having a weed pen with her, and then now Russia's also got a Wall Street Journal reporter in prison as well. So
I haven't been following this. I have no idea.
Yeah.
It just, to me, it just felt like
it's not really any surprises.
Situation.
It's not really any surprises that they're finding every excuse to put people in prison, is there? So, yeah. Anyway, another note here. We haven't spoken since the Oscars. No. Did you watch The Whale with Brendan Fraser? So what do you want to talk about? Murder mystery?
I mean, that's the thing. Or, and another thing I wanted to mention, and a movie you saw, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes, I did see that.
And our Among Thieves.
That's right.
So that's the last movie you saw in cinema. Is that correct?
That is the last time I've been to the cinema. Yeah, I went about 3 weeks ago with my friend. I need to get there again. They have this membership in New York. There's a place where you can pay like $35 and you can go to the movies unlimited per month. Dungeons and Dragons, though, was a great film. Very fun.
It's a blast of a movie. Like, I felt like I'm watching Pirates of the Caribbean: Curse of the Black Pearl. Like I felt like I'm back in 2003.
Yeah,
it's that sense of adventure. It's that sense of story. It's scope. It's grand. I love that. The humor.
It was so fun. I mean, just funny, fun. There were a lot of jokes. The dynamic between the two main characters. What was the name of that? Of the guy? What's his name? Hugh Grant's character.
Yeah.
He was funny.
Forge.
Yeah,
Forge was his name.
Yeah, all very funny. I mean, yeah, great film. Very great film. So they did a good job there. And you're right. They don't make movies like that anymore, do they? Really
No, no, not at all. Just like a simple adventure film. Like, no need to set up like 12 more sequels or, some universe. No, just,
now this is
and it has a nice runtime. It's no one torturing me for 2.5, hours. It's just, 2 hours done.
we want 90-minute films. 90-minute films. Bring back 90-minute films.
They are. If you go to the movie, Renfield is a 90-minute film.
Beautiful.
Hypnotic, that's now playing with Ben Affleck, 90-minute film. Sisu, I think that's also playing in American cinemas still. It's about a Swedish guy who dug up gold, and he encounters some Nazis, and they want to steal his gold. So he just goes on a killing rampage of Nazis.
I
as you
love
do.
It's great. Fantastic. You know what
90 minutes.
You know what they should do? There's this trend now of taking video games and turning them into movies. Dungeons and Dragons is not a video game, but a game turned into a movie.
Yep.
Super Mario Bros. Video game turned into a movie. I would love Call of Duty Nazi Zombies as a movie. That's what I want.
So yeah, I'm all for shorter run times. I mean, there's a new animated Spider-Man film. They are championing themselves, that it's gonna be the longest studio animated film ever. It's like 2 hours 20 minutes, and I'm like, oh God, please no. Why? The new Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It's just.
Is that an accomplishment? The longest running.
Apparently now it is an accomplishment. That the new Scorsese film that's going to be in the fall. We haven't talked about how much I hate Scorsese, right? That's right. That's going to be another episode. It's going to be over 3 hours.
You hate Scorsese?
Except his religious films.
We're gonna have to dive into that because I've got some bones to pick as someone who grew up on Martin Scorsese films. So,
you are a film student in disguise, aren't you?
A film student in disguise? No,
yes. Every film student just gonna pop up and they say, "Well, I've been very influenced by Bicycle Thieves, which is the only Italian film I have seen, Tarantino, and Scorsese."
No, it's more that a lot of the films that I watched as a kid are Scorsese films. Like
they are not films for kids.
I know, but it's a lot of the gangster movies, and my dad likes a lot of those movies, so he used to have them on TV when I was a kid. If you know what I mean.
Understood.
Yeah, like De Niro type of stuff. Yeah. So I kind of grew up around those, like, I guess you call them mob movies, right? Things like that. Like Taxi. I mean, I watched Taxi Driver when I was like. Taxi Driver is definitely not an age-appropriate movie if you're like 12 years old.
I watched that in a cinema for the first time though.
But I did love
as a proper buff, and no, I didn't like it.
I mean, I loved Raging Bull. I watched that as a kid.
I didn't well either. It's just, I don't know.
Love the King of Comedy.
King of Comedy is great, and that's not typical Scorsese.
And I mean, I watched Goodfellas when I was like 9 years old because my dad loves that movie. So
we need to get into this some other time, but there are other gangster films that are better. Coppola, Untouchables by De Palma.
I actually do prefer The Godfather to Goodfellas.
Good.
If I had to.
Then we can still be friends.
Thank you. Yeah. Although I do also think that The Godfather is an overplayed movie and misinterpreted by a lot of people. So kind of like
that misinterpreted.
Same way that the
Scarface is misinterpreted.
It's like when people watch The Wolf of Wall Street and they decide that they want to go work as a stockbroker.
Yes, and Matthew McConaughey, every time he encounters someone like that, is just what the hell? The same thing with Christian Bale. He spoke with some Wall Street bankers after American Psycho, and they were like, "Dude," but American Psycho is.
It's like literally scary. Yeah, that people take that away from the movies.
How can you use that as an example? Same thing with Scarface. Scarface is about the fall of Tony Soprano. Not Tony Soprano. Sorry, Tony Montana.
Montana. Yeah. Tony Soprano too. I mean, these people are.
We need to cut that out. I need to get better at editing, and I need to cut that out because the word doesn't.
Yeah, no, people take it away from these movies. They're like, I want to be like that. I'm like, you're fucking nuts. Like, these are horrible human beings. The whole point is that you're not supposed to be like them, right?
But that's the point of Scorsese. His satire is not that obvious that you watch it and you feel like it's glorification of it. And I never seen him speak about it as anything else. To me, it's glorification of violence.
I feel that way with Tarantino.
Which, like with Godfather, you kind of sense that, well, this isn't okay.
Well, they give you a very real portrayal. Godfather is a very realistic portrayal. There is not much hyperbolic imagery in Godfather, I don't believe. It's slow. It's almost realistic at times. So I think that's why. I always felt that Tarantino is the one who glorifies everything. I think that that's agreed upon by most people.
But his argument is, well, no, I don't. And you don't get it. Okay, man, well, just explain it. He never explained it, how it is not glorification of violence when it's like, I'm okay. I like using violence to humorous extent, which is Renfield, for example. But, you sometimes have to, take charge of what you're doing and what you're presenting in art.
There's a responsibility. I mean, when I was watching Once Upon a Time in America, I was laughing at the end when Brad Pitt throws the soup can against the person's head. You know what I'm talking about? That scene? Because I couldn't quite figure, is this a comedy? Like, are you making a horror comedy or is this like a drama? Pick your lane and let us know what you're doing here. Because you've gone so far to one extreme with this fucking soup can and the dog, like, attacking these people. It's almost like a ridiculous action comedy, or it just felt fake, So what's going on there? Same with Pulp Fiction. I mean, Pulp Fiction is disgusting, but at the end, at times you laugh, right?
Sure. What's the point of Pulp Fiction?
There is no point. Literally, right. No fucking point.
So it's just entertainment.
It's pure fucking entertainment. This is a philosophical question. I mean, does art need to have a point? Right?
How did we get this? Yes, I wanted to talk about a topic like this, but okay, does art need to have a point? Does it need to have a message? I feel it does, because even if you watch a comedy, it has a message. It has a point.
Seinfeld. Give me the message of Seinfeld. One of your favorite shows. We do a specific episode, okay? We were talking before this episode about I have a lot of problems to pick with you people, and you're going to hear about it. So Festivus.
Which is using toxicity in parental relationships to a humorous extent. There is message in Seinfeld. It is portraying everyday life in hyperbolic way, exaggerated way, so you can watch your own problems and laugh at it. You can empathize with any Seinfeld character more than with, I don't know, Office character. because you're telling me that you haven't had these thoughts, you haven't had these feelings, which they have in Seinfeld. Yes, you did. And if you tell me you didn't, then you're lying to yourself. So Seinfeld is everyday life, and right, that's what internet is this weekend. There's the Seinfeld finale, which aired 25 years ago, and well, a lot of people have a lot of problems with it. I don't. I feel like it's a natural progression of it, and kind of Larry David as an artist as well. You have to punish these guys. Otherwise, what the hell are you telling me for 9 years? So they get punished in the end, which is the correct way to end it. I always felt like, and it's again like funny. The same thing with I don't know how they're gonna end. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which is a meaner version of Seinfeld.
Right, right. More disgusting, gruesome. Yeah, for sure.
And you're telling me you never had friends like that when you were growing up in elementary or high school, like the
Yeah.
friends that like the people that are in Sunny in Philadelphia?
I mean, maybe not them to that extent because that is more hyperbolized, but definitely people in Seinfeld, and I think we've all. It's a concept, yeah. It is what it is. At the end of I mean, we have all of this in us, right? We're evil and we're good. Some people are more good than evil. Some people are more evil than good. Most people are somewhere in the mean, I think.
Well, I think there's a quote by Larry David when he was explaining this, that the unspoken ideas that you have, like the mean ideas, they're actually funny if you say them.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's what he's doing for 20 years of his life.
Dude. I went on a date like 2 weeks ago, and
Is this part of the podcast or is this for me?
we can call it part of the podcast. I don't.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, I go on this date, and we're talking, and at some point, we're talking about like the thoughts in our head versus what we're saying, and I don't know if I was like, have you been completely honest with me on the dates that we've been on? And she's like, yeah, everything that I've thought I've said. She's like, what about you? And I'm like, well, I haven't said everything that I thought. She's like, what? There's things you've thought that you haven't said? I'm just like, well, yeah. If I told you everything that I think, you'd think I'm a nut job. And then she was like, wait, why? I'm like, so I talked to my therapist about this. And I was like, yo, I told this person, I was like, it's like, I didn't tell her everything that I thought, but she wanted me to tell her everything that I thought. I'm like, come on, most people think crazy things all the time. And he was like, yeah, a lot of people do, but there are some people who actually don't. And I was like, mind blown by this. I'm like, you're telling me there are people who have only pure thoughts?
Wait, so there are people who have no intrusive thoughts at all, and they just live a happy life?
Apparently.
What the
People
hell
who have
is
no
that?
negative intrusive thoughts.
Those sons of...
Yeah. Needless to say, the relationship has not continued.
Right. You chose the wrong personality to show, out of the drawer of personalities that you have.
Well, I think I need to be with somebody who has intrusive thoughts.
It's okay to have intrusive thoughts, just don't act on them.
Of course.
That's the moral of this story. I don't know what the moral of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is.
The moral of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is there's no moral. Yeah, there's nothing. It's a horror movie. So it's a terrible film. It is a fucking terrible film. It really is.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. I didn't survive it, and I showed it to my parents just because, like, they wanted to see it because Tarantino, and I told them just watch it, but don't expect anything, and just like be glad that it's over. It's 2 hours 40 minutes. It's 3 hours. It's like 3 hours, isn't it? It's like 2 hours 40.
Yeah.
It's so fucking long. It has no point. Nothing connects to anything else. Like I thought Brad Pitt's gonna piss off those guys, those hillbillies, and then they're just gonna come and fuck him up. But that didn't happen. Then you just have like those Manson kids come up, fuck him up, and it's disrespectful to Sharon Tate and Roman Polanski, in my respect. because Sharon Tate was killed by the Manson family
Yeah.
that night, and they revisionist history that Tarantino does. So she's not dead.
I did like Inglorious Bastards in terms of
I did
revisionism.
too, and I still feel like there were problems with it, but I would still go and say that's his best film.
Yeah, I loved that movie as a kid. So I like that one.
Why
That's
doesn't it
probably
focus more on Shoshana? It starts with Shoshana with this glorious scene, and then it cuts to Inglourious Bastards were shown not in a movie at all, basically, until the third act. And I liked Shoshana as a character, and I wanted to focus on her more. That should have been the script.
yeah, it would have been interesting. Although I also kind of like the focus on the Inglorious Bastards too, because I mean, in a way, which is kind of fucked up, but the violence that they were enacting against Nazis was kind of fun to watch. But at the same time, that is a rather violent. He's playing into a very violent streak of human emotion, and I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing. Yeah. That sort of
Anyway,
rage.
there's no point to his films.
Inglorious Bastards,
I
I guess, has a point, but
does it? It's just fucking with history.
yeah,
It's like drunk
it's more so
history,
like,
but better.
it's more so about like fucking up Nazis, right? It's which everyone loves. So that's kind of what it's about. But yeah, it doesn't really have any greater point than that, does it?
But back to your very interesting point, does art have to have a message? Or can it
Does it?
just be entertainment?
Sure.
Should it tell you something grander about people, life, or whatever? I feel like it does.
Well, what
Otherwise,
about the
you're
glass
kind of
onion?
wasting my time.
What about the glass onion?
I proved time. What about the glass onion? Okay,
Time to talk
nice
about murder
segue.
mystery. Let's go. Does the glass onion have a point?
Glass onion is one of the worst Oscar-nominated screenplays. It's Oscar-nominated screenplay of all time.
And
Jesus
by the way,
Christ! It's like Ryan
I'll
Johnson.
speak for
And
myself.
okay, so let's. You cut off. Sorry.
Sorry, I'm gonna say I loved the first movie. I fucking loved it. Great movie.
So let's rewind. Knives Out was the last movie we saw together before the pandemic happened. I saw it with, I think I just saw it with my mom, and I was just blown away. And I dragged you out because I told you have to watch this movie. So we went. I think it was the Svetozor Cinema. It was great, but we all knew that something's happening, like your pandemic-y, if you remember.
Yep.
We were wary of people coughing. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, Knives Out is great. I love Ryan Johnson up to Glass Onion. But there's redemption arc in this story, but that comes later. Let's let's shit on Glass Onion.
I walked out like 30 minutes in. I didn't finish.
Right, you had a chance to watch it in a cinema. I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I just, I don't know. It was slow. It was ridiculous. It was just bad.
It's not it's not at all clever in its takedown of the elite. It feels like it does feel like a movie they made during a pandemic because they could take a vacation on an island. Uh, the mystery in it is not a mystery. It's just shit. I had the notes written down, and we wanted to talk about this in November, and we didn't.
They keep using the
I'm
word
gonna.
disruption in it.
Okay,
So the whole premise is that, right, this guy.
I said this. I already.
Huh?
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying, yeah, the whole premise is this rich guy brings these other people to this island. He considers them all to be disruptors and wants these disruptors they're all like friends because they're all rich and shit, and they have to solve this mystery, right? And there's some beef and backstory and shit.
Yeah, which is not that original idea either. And then that point when Blanc solves the mystery within like 30 seconds is not the original idea either. It like happened in books or comics. I can pull out a Mickey Mouse comic from my shelf, and it has that same story because Mickey, as a detective, he solves the dinner party mystery within 30 seconds and ruins the dinner party, right? That's the same thing. You're not original. It's not original. None of what happened. So you watch the movie and you finally, you come to a point and you feel like, okay, now we're finally getting some answers, right? And it's the midpoint of the movie. And then it cuts back to the beginning. I stopped the computer. I paused the movie at that point and just, I don't know. I think I took a sip of whiskey or something just to like get out of it. Like, fuck, they're going back in the story. Jesus Christ. And this is not how you do a mystery. Okay. So if you watch Agatha Christie dramatization on TV, like have the great Poirot TV series with David Cage. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, and I currently have an actor portraying Hercule Poirot in Prague, and he says it in a weird way, so I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. Anyway, you're supposed to show me why I should be suspicious of those characters right from the get-go, right? And what Glass Onion does is, I'm not suspicious of them at all. Well, okay, they're just a bunch of jackasses. Fine, that's fine with me. And then when it rewinds back and starts over again, it shows me the same scenes and same shots, and you have people added in it. No, you withheld information from me. That's bad filmmaking. And then you have like little more of the conversations you already saw, and then you were supposed to be suspicious. But it didn't have to be 2 hours, 20 minutes. You could have shown me that before, and then just like show me like flashback. Well, she was dead the whole time, and did this. It was just padding the movie into a longer runtime.
Well, you know what? I agree. I wouldn't know. I walked out 30 minutes in, but that's our convention about Glass Onion right there.
Finish it at home.
I have no desire. I have no desire. I think we're at time though, Jan. I think we gotta wrap up here. We talked about one of the murder mystery movies that we wanted to talk about, but
do you want to go back to that, or?
I think we have to call it time here. I have to go to. I'm going to see Some Like It Hot. It's a Broadway show at 3.
Like a movie screening?
No, it's a play, like a musical Broadway play.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
I never knew.
Yes, I'm going there at 3.
Who's
so
in
I
it?
gotta wrap up. I have no idea. I can talk about it next time. I don't really like musicals that much these days, though.
You didn't like musicals? I love musicals.
I like some musicals, but like lately they've been getting worse.
Hello, Dolly is the best musical of all time.
All right, we'll talk about musicals next time. We'll talk about musicals. I want to talk about Singing in the Rain. I love that movie. All right. So you want to do the honors of wrapping up this podcast, John?
I mean, you can go ahead. I mean, you already did.
Okay. Well, yeah, this was an episode.
You already did. So you can go ahead and wrap it up.
Brainwashed by the pop culture, and we'll see you next time when we kvetch some more about other movies and give rare praise to the ones we like. All right. Cheers.
All right. See you at the movies.